Mr. Bettero.
Honestly, go fuck yourself, sir. You don't say that, okay? You don't lose a trial where a jury acquits someone and finds overwhelmingly not guilty and say, I gave my sincere obligation to look into this, and I'm telling you all I saw when she's guilty. Again, respectfully, go fuck yourself.
Is that a fair characterization? I think that, Your Honor.
I want to hear objection before I hear a word out of your mouth.
Objection.
Overruled. Sit down. Oh, I said overruled. Sit down.
Swear again like that. That was, no, I mean, whatever. That was, I shouldn't have done that.
A few moments later.
You, as a prosecutor, have got to be out of your fucking mind.
Nose.
Dude, Jimmy, look at those ears.
The ears don't bother me as much.
No, I don't trust a man. I don't trust a man with a lobe like that. No,
really,
not a fucking chance.
The mouth is butthole to me.
Very thin, paper thin.
The nose.
Oh, the nose.
The brows.
Well, listen, I will tell you though, I kind of like a fucked up nose on a guy.
Like a big old honker. I like a big nose.
Old nose. Give me that big bitch. You know,
yeah,
like, I'm into it.
Come over here, cluck cluck.
Yeah.
I see some chickens that went moving on up in my biz, cluck cluck. You gotta be with the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, the kids, kids.
And I go, oop, clutch, clench, Kegel, we did it all. And I go, oh, and what happened? And they go, well, we just got 4,000 plus pages, bitch. And I said, stop it. Show me it. Take me to Unimpound Town immediately, if not sooner. So what happens?
The bitch is here.
Why are you at a football game? Are you a Fonz correspondent?
Well, no, because it's only for men over 30. Okay? Have a great night, boys. Fuck off.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
Hey, Blues Clues, motherfucker.
Hello, lovies. How are we? Happy? What is today? It is Tuesday, all day. Jeez, I'm losing it. It is August 18th, 2026. Sorry, she's flustered. I had a Diet Coke. I'm in the office. Lucy comes into the office, attacks the cord to the air conditioning, then gets into the curtains, knocks over the Diet Coke, and then starts screaming at me. Like, my cat, she starts screaming at me. Ma'am, you dropped the Diet Coke, the only Diet Coke. And could I go back to am I going to go get another one? No. Oh my gosh. So many beverages, so little time. What a world. We're doing a double header tonight. We did a Membies only. She's crying. She's crying. Hold please. Let's get my cat. Hold on. Come, my cat. Come. Show everyone that you are a cute menace to society. You do not know what you do, child. Oh, why must you yell? Why are you so... Hi, I love you. Please be kind. But what are we talking about? Yes, she's a podcat. We podcat with the Lucy. Yes, queen, yes. Kindness. She's a podcat. Hello, hi. I got a loose on the loose. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, thank you. That was so nice. Well, you're just yelling. Why must you yell? Simba. Who are you yelling at? Okay, eat two, Brutus. Okay, she's gone. It's chaotic. Don't do it. She's going to do it. Okay. Well, that was a nice part. I know she's so cute. She is so cute. I could bite her, and that's weird. I know, Dory, we're obsessed. And that's like a happy part, right? Because today we're going to go into day 15, Lindsay Clancy trial, a lot. So much, babes, that my mind
is spinning. Queen La Posada hitting us virtually. Dr. Zizel, Dr. Condi, which interestingly enough, stop it. I know him. Do I know him? No. But was he the director of VinFen? And did I work for VinFen? He was the chief medical officer forever. This is happening. The cat is in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. Lucifer! Don't do it. Stop. Please stop. Sometimes I talk to her Russian. I sound like Nina in Spaces. I go, why you do this, my queen? Why? Why must you be so crazy? She's like a dog, though. She believes she's one with the pack. I don't understand. She follows you like most cats. I don't know because I don't have. This is the only one I've had ever. I don't know. Hi, Luce. She's a kitty crier. But she's not really crying. She's just bitching. She's my cat. That's what she does. Okay. Stop this. Stop. Besties, bunnies, lovies. I can't. All right. Focus. She is a little babushka. Cats, coffee, cocktails, and crime. And also our mob cat. Some have a bobcat. I have a mob cat. If you know, you know. Okay. I did get a text message that said dick down, mobbed up, and that's hilarious. Ma'am. Okay, we're gonna have to get going. May the Lord be with you and also with you. Lauren Mraz says Bowhead and her evil stepsister were unhinged today. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to start this right out the gate. We know that I'm an Irish Catholic mother of two. We know that I have Catholic guilt everywhere, every day. And I'm only going to play one section of Patrick's mother and her testimony, but the unbelievable, in my opinion, comments and a question that was asked by this prosecution, it was so shameful. And like, if you go back to the founding of our country, now Massachusetts, we know, hello, Plymouth, we are the first colony. And there has always been a desire of a separation of church and state. That's why our country was founded, right? Freedom of religion, freedom of people and our choices. And our men with muskets have made our Declaration of Independence. And like we had a Boston Tea Party, the whole fucking kit and caboodle. I'm not a history buff, but it was appalling to hear a connection and asking about sin in a court of law. Ew. Like, if you think of your Office of Professional Conduct and who is employing these prosecutors, it was just such a low blow. And it has no place in our legal system. So shame on them for that. If you played above the board, if you were above board with all of your comments, I just feel as though there has been compounding issues with video footage, with photos of and video played of the Clancy children, that of course this case is tragic. It is heartbreaking. It is never lost on me that 3 beautiful, precious lives are no longer here. But the way in which this Commonwealth and these prosecutors have chosen to weaponize certain aspects and attempt to make emotional or more emotional, are already so highly charged topic, it feels disgusting to me. It gives me the ick. And I know that also Judge Sullivan feels the same, as evidenced by, we'll see it afterwards. Okay. We're going to just jump right in. First, Dr. Donald Condi. He is a clinical and forensic psychiatrist, rather. He was, he went to school at Tulane and then to the University of New Orleans. He moved to Massachusetts in 1982. and he was part of the Boston Mental Health Center, which is associated with Harvard. Harvard. And I like to hear Kevin Reddington say it. Add it to stage. And okay, Noni's Treasure says separation of church and state is the protection of the church. You want to go to scripture. How about turn the other cheek? It's ridiculous. Absolutely. We're supposed to be able to have, like, to say, well, I'm showing the clip, but the way in which it was said, it was shocking. I've never in any trial, Lovies, have you ever seen anything like that? Because I know, sure as shit, I haven't. And I was like, no, that did not just happen. And it did. Okay. Adding. Oh, what are you getting into, ma'am? On your mark, get set. Hi, Dr. Condi. We're going meds.
Yes.
What did she say to Dr. Tufts?
She reported, Dr. Tufts reported that Lindsay's psychiatric condition was generally deteriorating. That's a checkbox on one of the forms that her records.
What did Lindsay say her symptoms were at that point?
That she was having the racing thoughts, and that she was also feeling, as I said, not like herself. That her depression was worse than it had been. I believe that's also around the time that Dr. Tufts thought of trying a medication called Zulresso.
Zulresso.
Yes.
And what is that? Is that you need that by way of injection?
Yes, Zulresso is no longer marketed. It wasn't a particularly successful medication. It requires a 60-hour continuous IV infusion.
In a hospital setting or in a medical setting?
You have to be medically.
I find most psychiatrists to be about as interesting as paint drying, but the information is so on point that this is the specific area. The 17 minutes of this information he goes over is most important, in my opinion.
Monitored. It doesn't necessarily need to be a hospital, but those are not necessarily things that can be done outside of a hospital.
So she didn't do the Zulresso though, right?
She did not. It also costs $34,000 just for the medication, not for the monitoring.
Okay.
What's
random fast fact? $34,000 for the drug, not the marketing. When I tell you that our healthcare is an industrial complex in this country, I mean it. It is no longer about patients. It is no longer about positive outcomes. It is pharmaceutical based. Money. And how we can make more money off of each patient. It's only gotten worse in the last 19 years that I've been a nurse.
The next thing that happened with Dr. Tufts and Lindsay Clancy, sir.
Well, if I look at my affidavit, when she stopped taking the medication, the Zoloft, she now felt better, as she had felt before she took the Zoloft, but she was less anxious.
What was the next medication?
She was put on Benadryl and had some difficulty sleeping, but also was worried that night because her son was coughing, and she worried a great deal about this.
Can you imagine? She was like he's saying there was a change and she was put on some Benadryl. It's like, oh, okay, we're going from psychiatric medications to let's hit you with a little OTC Benadryl. Hit you with that little pink pill and pray to God you don't have a paradoxal effect, i.e. you are like running through the wall like a Kool-Aid man instead of going sleeping at nights.
Children's health.
And that would be something that would also intrude on her sleep, worrying about her children?
Yes.
Okay. What other symptomology traveling through November into December did she relate to Dr. Tufts, according to your review of the medical records?
Well, she talked about things like dizziness. feeling sedated in the morning when she woke up, if she got any sleep at all. And I think she used the term brain fog at times. These are sometimes symptoms that people who are experiencing postpartum depression frequently complain about. She continued to complain about anxiety.
Well, it's not what they're complaining about, it's what they're living, right?
It is a
Okay, to K Shred, love him. This our king saying, well, she's not just complaining about this, she's actually experiencing it. And what Dr. Condi is saying is it's just like it's C/O, complaint of. We actually don't document that in charts often anymore. It's report. It's a patient report. It used to be complaint of.
very unpleasant experience, yes.
And continuing on through November, at some point did she leave or stop with Tufts and go to another healthcare provider by way of either emergency room initially and then another healthcare provider?
Yes.
Who was that?
She started treatment with Rebecca Gelada, a nurse practitioner at South Shore perinatal program.
Now, one of the things that was apparent, that we, if you recall, I believe, that she also had initially been referred there by a friend of the family. Is that right? To that perinatal clinic?
Yes, my understanding from the records is that Miss Clancy's mother-in-law was friendly with a nurse practitioner who practiced in the perinatal program, and I believe it actually started the perinatal program.
Yes, and ultimately, or in the beginning, she was treated by a Julie Paul. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you remember looking at the medical records and that on November 27th of 2022, nurse practitioner Julie Paul reported that Lindsay stated that she was disassociated, that she was not in touch with reality. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And what is that a symptomology? Is that a symptom of psychosis, to be disassociated and not in touch with reality?
It certainly can be. Dissociation can mean that people feel like things around them are not real.
Right, and that's a pretty serious feeling to have, right?
It is.
And that's pretty common, unfortunately, with women that have postpartum psychosis, right?
Sure is.
It certainly can be, yes.
And what are the other symptomologies of postpartum psychosis, sir?
Well, psychosis in general just means a lack of understanding of what's real as opposed to what is not. So a person with psychosis can have delusions, which are fixed false beliefs. They could believe that, for example, they have been told by God to do something. They can also have hallucinations at times.
What kind of hallucinations?
Most people have auditory hallucinations, not visual hallucinations.
Hearing. Is that correct? Auditory is hearing, right?
Yes.
Okay, as opposed to...
I love Kevin Reddington, him breaking things down for the jury. This isn't for the doctor, right? Because Dr. Condi knows exactly what there is a difference between AH, auditory hallucination, and VH, visual hallucinations. And like he's saying, it is most prevalent for psychiatric emergencies, psychosis, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, for you to hear voices versus seeing something that is not there. But that is also clearly a sign of a psychosis.
What?
As opposed to visual hallucinations?
Visual. And in the course of reviewing the medical records, did you see that, in fact, that Lindsay had auditory, no visual hallucinations, but auditory voices?
At times, she reported that she had heard a voice, yes.
Okay. Do you recall that as the time went by, that she, in December, do you remember seeing in the medical records that she was relating that she was heavy, that she couldn't get out of bed, that she couldn't bathe, that she couldn't react, she couldn't love, she couldn't feel? Do you remember any of that from looking at the medical records?
Yes, those are all phrases that I recall from the medical records.
They're all coming from her, right?
Yes.
To the doctors.
Yes.
That would be Dr. Tufts and then Dr. Gelada. Is that right?
Nurse Gelada.
Sorry, nurse practitioner Gelada. Do you recall, sir, that nurse practitioner Gelada prescribed additional medications to Lindsay during that period of time from November through December?
Yes.
Can you tell us what they were?
I'd have to look to be sure, but I believe she continued the Benadryl at times. And there was some talk about the use of Buspar, but I believe that was Dr. Tufts.
About the what? I'm sorry?
I said it. I'm sorry?
What was the word you just used?
Oh, sorry.
Come again? Who said what? Buspar.
Buspar, which is the brand name for buspirone, which is an anti-anxiety medication.
Right. How about Remeron? Was there ever a prescription for Remeron?
Remeron is a different kind of antidepressant, which helps people sleep a little bit and also sometimes helps their appetite. Yes, that was another.
Good God. Can we just talk about for 1 second, guys? Sorry, sidebar. I'm distracted. Look at this, Madam Court Reporter. Everybody with these masks that are looking like they are in Top Gun. Like, this is so old school dictation. Could our Commonwealth decide to jump from 1899 to at least 1999? Throw me a fucking, I don't know, a Dell or one of those old Apple desktops that glowed blue in the back. God.
The answer is yes, she was prescribed Remeron?
Yes, she was.
And that's an antidepressant?
It is.
Is that mocking or similar to, but not exactly the same as the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, Zoloft, Prozac, things of that nature, right?
It's similar in the sense that it has an antidepressant effect. It has some effect on serotonin. It has some effect on the adrenergic system as well.
What?
The adrenergic system. Adrenaline is a neurotransmitter. It's also a hormone that circulates if you are suddenly scared or something like that. You get a surge of adrenaline. So if you were in a near-miss car accident, you might find yourself shaking because adrenaline will flood into your system from the adrenal glands. But it's also a neurotransmitter, and mirtazapine has some effect on that.
You said mirtazapine. Is that the same as Remeron?
It's Remeron.
Yes.
It's the trade name.
So it's two different names, generic and not generic.
Mirtazapine is a generic name, and I was taught to use generic names. But yes, Remeron is.
Around this time, Lindsay.
We always are taught to use the generic name. Why? Because there's different manufacturers. And again, talking about money, right? Is that like the brand name, the trade name is what makes money for the companies and the pharmaceutical companies. When you get the generic of medication, it is the same ingredients. Some people would say I have either less or more effectiveness with a trade name or a trade drug than you do with the generic form, but it's still the same active ingredient. And it's usually somewhere around 85% cheaper than it would be for the pharmaceutical company that is making this drug and their specific trade name for it. Wild.
She has been prescribed the Prozac, she had been prescribed the Remeron, she had been prescribed the Benadryl, she had been prescribed other medications very similar to the SSRIs. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And does the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, that's fancy word. What does it mean?
Isn't
that serotonin in your brain? Doesn't it block or in some fashion affect your brain?
It's a little complicated to explain, but
Let's
serotonin.
explain it. Tell the jury what serotonin means and what happens when you take an SSRI, please.
Okay, serotonin in this sense is a neurotransmitter. The brain is a relatively complicated place. It has about 86 billion nerve cells.
Okay, I love it. Now we're dorking out. Who's a nerd? Are you ready to nerd with me? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I know that we had 86 billion nerve endings in our brain? Oh.
They've got thousands of connections to each other, but they're not like the wires in your house where you put two pieces of wire together, twist the copper, and then put a nut on that. Nerves don't touch. They go close to each other, but there's a space between them, and that's called the synaptic cleft. One nerve secretes a neurotransmitter into the synaptic cleft, and it moves over to the next.
Oh, we're talking synaptic clefts, baby. If this doesn't get you jazzed up for like neuroscience, I don't know what would. All I have is like this. There used to be this old commercial, and it was talking about serotonin and dopamine and releasing, and it would do it from the neurotransmitter and from the synaptic cleft, and it opening up, and you would see it all flood in like a chemical. Oh, Sakanya.
Nerve in line where there's a receptor. Serotonin does that in the synaptic cleft, but it's also taken back up by the nerve that secreted it so it's reuptaked. So a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor slows down the reuptake of serotonin, prolonging its activity in the synaptic cleft, which causes the next nerve in line to be activated. I'm sorry that it's so complicated. So that's what serotonin is doing, and that's what a reuptake inhibitor does.
When a woman is pregnant or has just had a baby, can you tell me what effect for example, hormones have when a person has a baby?
Here it is.
I know two guys, but I mean, do you know what happens when a woman has a baby?
And this is where he wins. I know we're two guys, but do you know what happens when a woman has a baby? Yes. K-Shred. Stop it.
I've
The people's
been at
choice.
quite a few deliveries, yes.
Okay.
The fact is that many hormones increase. So progesterone is a hormone that many people have heard of. It's a component of birth control pills because it promotes gestation. So progesterone in a birth control pill fools the body into thinking it's pregnant, which means it doesn't, the woman doesn't produce eggs that could be fertilized. And that's the way the birth control pill works, or some of them do. Progesterone goes down very quickly after birth, as do many other hormones that are going up and then down after birth.
So if the hormones go up, and if there's an overload, if you will, might be the wrong word, of hormones, what effect does that have on the human body? What effect does that have on a woman that's just had a baby?
More of an overload. It is more of a depletion as well. So we have some hormone spikes. Some hormones are so depleted that you are like at ground zero. And that is why when you are postpartum, you feel so different, right? Now, your body has not only just grown life, but you were riding high. No matter if you had a great pregnancy or not, your hormones were like, I am creating life, Lady Jane. Okay. You know what you can do? Everything. You know who you are? A superwoman. It's kind of like being bipolar when you're actually pregnant, because you are like, damn, even if you feel like shit, you typically are, your mood is decent, right? Immediately after, you are not only have gone through a trauma, it is traumatic, right? Whether you needed an episiotomy, whether you got a C-section, whether you pushed a baby out in the elevator on your way up to the third floor, like whatever happened, that is a trauma, right? Your body is trying to heal. You're retracting. Your uterus is going from the largest size back down, contracting, and everything. Your breasts are producing milk. You are then going through those hormonal changes. It is an absolute miracle. And it is an absolute shitstorm at the same time. Creating life is magical for all the reasons. And the aftercare of mom is just as important as aftercare of baby.
Well, it's quite complicated.
Just tell us basically what your feeling is. If they want to get into it, they can ask. But what effect does it have on a woman that has a baby?
Well, one of the other hormones that goes up is prolactin. So after the woman gives birth, prolactin promotes lactation, and it's a hormone that increases so that the mother can then breastfeed. These hormones are also seen in all mammals that feed their young through.
See, so now that's so interesting. RN is Rome GA says, I died when they said she ran a 5K the day of giving birth. Supermom. Well, I had a completely different take on that. Lovies, everyone. Hi. That for me is red flaggy all day, all night. And I'm sure that she felt that she was super mom and she was like, I got this because I can conquer the world. But for me, that is giving me decompensation and mental health, like red flags all day.
Producing milk. So it's a very common mammalian thing to do. But other kinds of things can happen to...
Did you say males or mammals?
Mammals.
Okay, because mammals don't breastfeed, right?
I'm sure they don't, yes.
Okay, so as far as the hormone, again, I would ask, when a woman has a baby, and the placenta, I think I pronounced that right?
Yes, you
for
did.
the birth, all of a sudden, what happens? It stops that massive influx of hormones, or it increases that influx of hormones?
Well, some hormones go up, like prolactin, and some hormones go down very quickly.
What effect does that have in your experience
Mood.
and your education and your research on women that have a baby? What effect does that have on them?
Well, many women experience postpartum blues.
What is postpartum blues?
It's a feeling of I'm sorry?
Sounds like a 50s thing. What's postpartum blues?
Sounds like a 50s thing. I can't. Like the blues. I can't with him. He's really interjecting light moments where he's able to. So we know that post baby blues, or the baby blues as it's referred to, is in up to 80% of mothers. Okay. That is like for the first 2 to 3 weeks postpartum that you are feeling just down. Why? Hormonal changes, lack of sleep, new human, like all the things that should resolve, like I said, within the first month postpartum. 10 to 15% of mothers fall into a category of postpartum depression. And unfortunately, in 1 to 2 of 1,000 births, a postpartum psychosis, which is a medical emergency and a life-threatening condition if not treated for either yourself or others. That's the statistics.
It's a feeling of low energy and being sad, not as serious or usually as long as postpartum depression.
What is postpartum depression? Is that the next level?
It's a more serious condition where the woman may feel that she can't connect to the baby, that she feels isolated, she has no energy, she may also have insomnia.
So, for example, if a woman is unable to sleep, feels as though she's losing a contact or connection with her infant, is stressing about not having that contact with her infant, feels that she's unable to emote or feel love or any emotions and can't relate to people, and also is out of reality, are those, or disassociated state, are those, in your opinion, symptoms of postpartum depression and or leading to postpartum psychosis?
Yes, they are.
And Lindsay had those symptoms, didn't she?
She reported all those symptoms, yes.
Doctor, when a doctor like Tufts is meeting with a person and checking the boxes, can that doctor give a blood test to the patient?
Certainly.
Is that important in your opinion, that a doctor give a patient, especially a woman who's coming to them for help with these symptoms?
All of your psychiatrists, all of your primary care, lovies, I know it's a pain in the ass to go to the lab. I know it's a pain to go to Quest or to wherever you need to go for a local laboratory or the hospital, whatever. But your providers should be doing lab work on you. Okay. It's very important. Not only your thyroid level, because I'm forever thinking like the older I get, the more I am certain I have a hypothyroid condition. I'm like, throw me on some levothyroxine and let's get my metabolism back to where she needs to be. I am not at all. My thyroid level is within my TSH and my reflex to T4. Everything's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And I'm like, rude. But I know that a lot of patients and a lot of people and a lot of humans are like, ew, I don't want to go get my labs done. You need to have a CBC. You need to have a BMP. You should have your labs drawn, and not like once every 20 years. Okay. Can you do that? Can you do that for me? Next time you go to a PCP appointment, which make one, just get your annual labs.
Give them a blood test.
Yes.
And again, we all know what blood tests are, but just tell me, I mean, is that a simple test? Is it a complicated test?
It's fairly simple to have blood drawn, and there are many tests that are relevant, particularly after a woman has given birth.
Why?
Well, some women become anemic. Depends on how much blood loss might have occurred during birth, but there's usually some blood loss. So checking hemoglobin levels is important. The thyroid can be affected by delivery of the baby, and some women in the postpartum period develop inflammation of the thyroid. The thyroid is a very important gland that regulates many parts of the body.
Is that why many times when a competent psychiatrist is treating a patient that is postpartum after having a baby, that they might run, and I may be wrong saying it, but a thyroid test?
They would do most commonly 2 different kinds of thyroid tests. They would test for thyroid stimulating hormone, which goes up when the thyroid hormones that also can be tested for actually go down. So thyroid stimulating hormone is telling the body, make more thyroid hormone because it's not enough in the circulation.
Did Tufts ever use a blood test at all in her treatment?
No, she did not.
Did Tufts ever check the thyroid levels of Lindsay Clancy at all during her treatment?
No, she did not.
How about Gelada? Did they test any of those things?
They actually, babes, it's even a little bit worse than that. I want to tell you what really happened. So they used Lindsay's last blood panels, right? And her thyroid, I remember it sticks out like a sore thumb. It was 5 years prior. It's like it's years old. Okay.
No, Nurse Gelada did not do blood testing either.
Now, you made reference, sir, to postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis. You're familiar with the DSM, what is referred to as DSM?
Oh, bye. Oh.
Now,
Okay. So apparently it just stopped. Okay. And now we are done with that, which we shouldn't have been. But now we're going into the next video, which is a moment that you will not forget. You will not forget this. Be prepared. If you haven't seen this from court today, it's going to piss you off. It's going to piss you off for your thoughts of what the prosecutor and who wears the white hat is supposed to be. You also are going to notice that this is Patrick's mother, who is a defense witness. A defense witness says something loud and clear to the jury, if you ask me. But when I hear this prosecutor get up and have the balls, the brass balls, to pull this in a courtroom in our Commonwealth that is on national television, dear Jesus, take the wheel.
once she was seeing Julie Paul, did you continue to have conversations with her about how she was feeling?
Yes.
And you knew that she was taking some new medications after she saw Julie, right?
Yes.
And
it's almost like her throat was having a reaction because she knew she was about to pull this shit. And she was like, oh, frog in my throat. You should have taken that as a sign.
Sorry, these pages are different.
Poor thing.
At some point, after being prescribed some medication, you recall that Lindsay told you that she thought she developed a benzo dependency, correct?
I vaguely remember that.
That'd be on November 29th, where she says, I just deep down inside of me feel that I've developed a benzo dependence after just 2 weeks of using it, and I feel like no one is hearing that and addressing it, and we keep throwing different meds in the mix that aren't really addressing the real issue. Do you recall that message?
Sounds familiar.
And she asks you, or you respond, so hard, I don't know what to do, so should you not use it? And she responds, I guess not, but then I don't sleep, right? Do you recall that?
I can't say for certain. It sounds right.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot of specifics.
This poor woman. Oh, no.
And on November 30th,
Look at her. Look at her. Just take this moment, guys. Now, you have been with me. You're my lovies. You know this. We can read it all over Nona Robbins' face. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what she's been through? Can you see it on her? She's telling a story. Like you want to give her a hug. And be like, hey, like, what are you thinking about right now? And I'm sure that it's terrifying being up on that stand and reliving it and going through it all and being like, I don't know. I can't tell you exactly. I don't remember that. But her being as forthcoming as she could. Like, can you get to the next question?
November 30th, she says, and I'm just gonna.
Robin. Yes.
She says, I'm not okay and I'm terrified of taking meds tonight. Do you see that in the green?
Yes.
And then your response is, why are you scared? Why happens if you don't take them? What are you afraid of? What about Ambien, right? You're actively trying to help her kind of figure out the medication.
Yes, there were a lot of medications.
You're aware she wasn't prescribed all the medications at one time, but just a lot of different combinations were kind of thrown around as options, right?
It seemed confusing.
And see, that's the thing, IL element of P. This prosecutor wants the jury to hate Lindsay. It's not your job. Your job is not that the jury needs to hate Lindsay Clancy. That's not your job. That's not what you signed up for. You signed up to do justice. You signed up to do what's right for the people of the Commonwealth and for victims and families. This is a family and a victim right here. And you keep kind of even going at her. Why?
She's very clear and she tells you which medications she's taking, right? Ativan and Remeron.
Probably.
Okay. And then she also tells you on November 30th when you're talking about it, she says, I know they take time to reach a therapeutic level to have the desired effect, right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And then you respond exactly. And she tells you that she's just depressed and she thinks it was brought on by the medication, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Well, on November 30th at 7:52, I was never ever this depressed. It was brought on by the medication. Did you say that or did she say that?
She probably said that.
Now, you were asked about the holidays and Thanksgiving. You remember Thanksgiving? Where did you guys go for Thanksgiving?
To my daughter's house.
And do you remember telling the grand jury that during Thanksgiving, things were better?
I don't recall.
Well, do you remember her saying that she said things were better? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay. You were asked, what was Lindsay like during the big Thanksgiving gathering? What observations did you make? Answer, she smiled. The girls all had Thanksgiving t-shirts on that sort of matched. We took a picture. She mostly focused on the kids and interacting with the cousins and the aunts and uncles. At one point, she went off a little into the distance, and I approached and asked her how she was doing, and she said, I'm trying hard to get better. I'm still working at it. I asked about her sleep. I thought that was
So what in that? Okay. Hold the phone, Bose. You know, Miss Bose a lot. You bozo. You said that she was getting better. She smiled. Now, I don't know about you. Don't know about you, babes, but have you ever smiled and not been well? Yeah. It's called every day. It's called every day. You get up, you leave your shit at the door, and you figure it out. And you figure it out for your kids because it's friggin' Thanksgiving. We're all wearing matching shirts. Figure it out. But when she pulled her to the side and she asked her, how you doing? She said, I'm working at it. I'm trying. And she was trying. And she put on her big girl pants. And she put on her turkey shirt. And she tried to make a good holiday for her family.
important. And also the fact that she lost some weight. She didn't have an appetite. And she said things were getting better.
Okay.
She lost some weight. It's not like me trying to lose some weight. Okay. It's not like Thickums trying to lose some weight. It's a 33-year-old mother, 8 months postpartum, going from 130 pounds to 124 in a 6-week time span. That's not okay. That's a clinical red flag.
Now, during the holidays, you in fact took some time off of work so that you were around a little bit more, correct?
Correct.
And so when you were around a little bit more, did you spend all day, every day at their house?
No.
Fair to say you would come sometimes play with the kids, right?
Yes.
Do shopping for her.
Correct.
And then you actually went on vacation.
Yes.
You and your husband went to Aruba.
Yes.
How long were you in Aruba?
5 or 6 days, I think.
And now moving towards Christmas, you had dinner with them at their house on the 23rd, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember breakfast on Christmas Day?
Yes.
Was that at their house or someplace else?
Their house.
Okay. And then what did you guys do after breakfast?
We went to church.
And fair to say you've previously testified that breakfast was great.
Yes.
And that church was beautiful.
Yes.
And in fact, the defendant.
Wait a second. We're going to go back up. We're backing up because we know this is where it comes. Everyone prepare. She's asked Nona Clancy, what did you do after we went to church? And you said the church was great, right?
He testified that breakfast was great.
You mother.
Yes. And that church was beautiful.
Yes.
And in fact, the defendant, she told you that it was great and that she was glad she went to church that day on Christmas Day.
Yes, she did.
And then after that, you're aware they went down to Connecticut to see her family.
Right.
Now, are you an active member in the Catholic Church?
Yes.
Okay. So you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin?
Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, you must be. You must be. Pick your jaws up off the floor, ladies and gentlemen. You just heard the Commonwealth of Massachusetts say in a courtroom in front of a jury and judge and scales of justice and the entire world watching this trial, are you a Catholic? And she says yes. And you follow it up with, you are aware that murder is considered a mortal sin. You have lost the plot. You have lost our respect. And you have lost your damn mind, counselor.
Go over here.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to our seal. Let's go to the Massachusetts seal. And that's who represents us. That's who represents every one of you lovies in the Commonwealth, right? Get your paycheck. You have an ethical duty. You are bound to it. And that's what you chose to say to a mother who has grieved not only the loss of her 3 grandchildren, but her daughter-in-law, the loss of who her son used to be, and her life was forever changed. And you thought you were going to have a moral fucking one-up on her? You can absolutely. There, it's for you. Sit on it. What a shitbag. Shocking. Truly. Sorry, babes. I'm going to send one to their office. Okay. I'm going to give you some Nurse Kim merch. You can shut all the way the fuck up, you dumb bitch. I'll put it on a bow. Sorry. That's rude, but you know what I mean. I know, Robin. Hold on. I'm just waiting for our judge. He's coming. Guys, I can't figure out how to go 20 seconds ahead. You know how you do that? I can't do it.
All right. And what that means is you are not to consider it for any reason or any purpose. Okay?
Okay. And all he gives for a curative instruction is, okay, you are not to consider it for any reason or purpose. Okay. That's it? That's it, Judge. Come on. Come on. If this was the defense, I mean, I'm not saying like he's been actually a very fair, I like Judge Sullivan, but I'm just saying, like, what? I want there to be like a review of candor to the court. If you, and she was ready, she was gearing up and she had to clear her throat a couple of times. She knew that that was going to be what they said as soon as she mentioned going to church. You guys, what did you do? You went to church. Oh, did you? Remember when Lindsay said it was great? So do you want Lindsay to also go back to Tewksbury State tonight and just be like, yeah, I mean, she is on a 1-to-1, but unalive herself. She's already tried. You know, I think it's interesting because a lot of people don't recognize Lindsay Clancy is still a younger woman, right? In her mid 30s. Well, she's 35 now. And it's like, she's a DNR. She's a DNR. And I would believe that if there was an option for her to get the death penalty, that she'd probably be like, sure. Not saying that it's not available in Massachusetts, but you know what I'm saying? Like, she does not want to be here. And she hasn't since this day. Because she tried to take herself out when she did what she did and jumped out that window, which was a valid unaliving attempt. It's going to be proven by Dr. LaPosada next. But how dare you? Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. And to anyone who thinks that that was an appropriate move or she deserved it, well, Mrs. Clancy didn't. She didn't deserve to be ambushed like that.
All right, counsel.
So you were aware, Mrs. Clancy, about the stay at McLean Hospital from January.
And then they go into McLean. Can you imagine? Shameful. It was wild. It was truly wild. Next. Is this Dr. Zeisel? All right. We're in Zeisel time.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Hi, Mr. Reddington. Thank you, Judge.
Zeisel
Oh.
of mental health and the law. That requires a psychologist to know about the different types of forensic testing issues with the test, but it will change slightly because people on some tests, psychological tests, will want to come across as faking good. Some people will want to come across as faking bad. Faking good would be a mother whose children were taken away. She would like to get them back. So she wants to come across as the healthiest person there is.
This is important. He talks about how in different examples that patients specifically in mental health circumstances, some try to fake good and some try to fake that they're bad. And why? Great job, Dr. Zeisel.
Conversely, faking bad is someone seeking a, let's say, a workman's compensation claim, and they may have a tendency to exaggerate the nature of their injuries.
So in this case, for example, forget about workman's comp. Let's talk about a murder charge. If a defendant submits to a psychological test, such as
Oh God, I can't hear them.
and the interpretation by a psychologist of the results of that test, if the person wanted to pretend.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to try to get a better video. Hold, please. Son of a. Okay, now don't lose where I am. Oh no, can I do that? All right, I'm gonna try it over here. Okay, the YouTubes. Am I in? No, get out of there. All right, Back. Oh, here we are. We're in the tubes. Maybe, oh, okay, I can do this. I can say Dr. Z. Dr. Z. Well, Clancy. Day 15. Dr. Z. All right, is this louder? Oh shit! Is this the same one I played?
It's called the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, and there are various iterations. There's MMPI 3, there's the RF. Some are focused on forensic assessment. It is a test that is been around since the 1940s that was originally used to determine a sample the size of white men going into the military who would be good leaders. Today, the sample is based on a much more diversified population, including women and different racial ethnicities, and it's divided into two parts. One part has what we call a validity and reliability.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Parksy. I love you. Late to the live, but on 2 times getting caught up. WTF are we doing here? Asking for a friend. I can't believe that Drusilla and Anastasia. Stop it. You stop that. Are re-victimizing this entire family. Also, not for nothing, but has anyone told this beach that her GD hair bow is a mortal sin? No, but I'd like to be in Mortal Kombat and I'd like to finish her. Scorpion.
Scale and a lie scale. Validity.
The lie scale, is that also referred to as the K scale?
Yes, it could be considered part of the K scale, and it's whether someone is being dishonest with the test, but it will change slightly because people on some tests, psychological tests, will want to come across as faking good. Some people will want to come across as faking bad. Faking good would be a mother whose children were taken away. She would like to get them back.
Yep.
So she wants to come across as the healthiest person there is. Conversely, faking bad is someone seeking let's say, a workman's compensation claim, and they may have a tendency to exaggerate the nature of their injuries.
So in this case, for example, forget about workman's comp. Let's talk about a murder charge. If a defendant submits to a psychological test, such as the MMPI, and the interpretation by a psychologist of the results of that test, if the person wanted to pretend that there was
Mr. Reddington, if you don't stand by that podium, I swear to goodness, good sir.
Yes.
Was it MMPI administered by the government's doctors on this case to Lindsay?
Mini mental.
Yes.
Did that have a K scale as to whether or not she was lying or exaggerating, malingering, or trying to fake that she had some disease or defect?
Yes, it had a K scale.
And what were the results of the government's doctors' tests on the minister?
What was the results of the K scale? What are the results? Is she a faker Magoo? Is she a fibber? Is she a liar? Is she a crier? Is she a try to dyer? Or is Lindsay Clancy telling the truth?
Sort of multifaceted personality as it relates to the K scale.
Objection. Yeah, can I see counsel over here?
So, Doctor, your experience, obviously, let me just, as we say, is something somebody has to evaluate. Can I lead you a little bit? Yes or no answers. When you tell us, would be fine. Were you aware that your history as a
incident debriefings, and when there would be multinational forces, and in Afghanistan it was the I. You are worried about her mental health, given the significant event that had just taken place a few days earlier. You were concerned that she had absolutely no ability to have visitors. Visitors were not permitted to meet with her.
Visitors.
From family members to friends to a priest. No one.
Remember, Lindsay is in bed. No one is allowed. We have police outside. Nurses are in there. She is on a 1-to-1 in the hospital, and she cannot have anybody come to see her. How wild is that? Also, sidebar, she was in soft restraints at some points.
Was able to see her.
So as a result of that,
I don't know how they didn't let a
you
priest
went
go
to the
either.
hospital, went into her room, and you were able to speak to her. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell the jurors, if you recall, what type of law enforcement presence? Uniform cops, guns, stuff like that. What did you notice?
I noticed literally outside of her hospital room were 2 state troopers in their blue uniforms, sitting each in a chair on either side of the doorway to Miss Clancy's room, with a nurse sitting in the corner of her room.
When you went in to see her on that date, was it your understanding she had recently been extubated? In other words, they removed the tube from her mouth?
Yes.
And do you recall the conversation that
This
you
is the
had
important
with
part.
Lindsay at that time?
Yes, I did.
Deep breath.
What your memory is.
The conversation I had with Miss Clancy at that time was one where I asked if she knew where she was. So I did what's called a mental status exam, a brief mental status exam. It's orientation to time, place, location. She didn't know where she was, wasn't quite sure what time it was. She knew who she was. And she told me that she remembers what happened, but it was very fuzzy and foggy. At the time, she had been on medication for the significant pain post-surgery while in that hospital room.
And during the course of that interview with her, did she express any concern to you about her husband, Patrick?
Yes, she did.
Tell the jurors what she indicated to you.
She said, since 11 days prior to my meeting with her, which would have been January 24th, 2023, she had no contact with Patrick. She wanted to know how he was doing. She wanted to know if she could call him and find out where things are with her and with him and how he was faring, and to just speak with him.
She expressed concern about her family.
Yes, she did.
Did she express concern about what had happened?
Yes.
Did she ask you, or did you offer to her the ability to speak to her husband, Patrick?
She asked me if she could use my cell phone to call her husband.
Did she do that?
Yes, she did.
Did you hear the conversation?
Yes, I told her we'd call. It would have to be on speakerphone.
And tell us about that conversation.
So that first phone call, I believe on the 24th, he did not pick up. She left a message. I did not leave a message. We then called back 2 days later on the 6th.
And after the 2 days had transpired and the call was made on the 6th, did she have a chance to talk to Patrick?
Yes.
Were you there?
Yes.
Was she still chained to the bed?
Yes.
Were the cops still outside the room?
Yes, not in blues. They were in civilian clothing, jeans, flannel shirts.
And tell us what she said to Patrick in your presence on the speakerphone at that point.
She had told Patrick that she loved him very much. She was unable to express a lot of emotion, but she expressed love for him. And she had said that she heard a male voice ordering her, telling her that she didn't have any choice, but she had to kill her children and then kill herself.
Now,
All right, let's have a moment. This is the first time that we now know and have a firsthand account from Dr. Zeisel what happened. There has been a lot of allegations from the Commonwealth and from the prosecution of what exactly occurred, and that Lindsay was told what to say, that Lindsay did not actually bring this to Dr. Zeisel, but that Dr. Zeisel told her, this is how we get you out of here, kiddo. Wheelchair bound and all. We're going to figure it out. Or they tried to call Patrick 11 days after the tragic events of January 24th, where Lindsay Clancy self-admittedly stipulates to the fact that she unalived her 3 children and tried to unalive herself. She was not able to reach Patrick. And then 13 days afterwards, she was able to reach him on the phone. And as Dr. Zeisel is describing, she was saying, I love you. I love you very much. Flat affect, not able to, she's not wailing. She's not crying. She's not labile. She's not hysterical. She's still not emoting. And she says to Patrick, I heard a male voice command me to unalive the children and then myself. If you think that Dr. Zeisel is like a plant, or that he was like, I would like to risk my entire career for Lindsay Clancy, an actual completely sane, homicidal sociopath, then I have like a bridge in Brooklyn, or whatever the fuck the saying is, to sell you. I'm going to go sell some snow to an Eskimo. Because it doesn't make sense.
Doctor, have in mind your background, your career, Did you tell Lindsay Clancy to lie or make that up and pretend that she was hearing voices?
No.
You have any conversation, any suggestions to her at all that she should say she heard voices or anything like that?
Absolutely not.
Why did you let her call her husband on your cell phone?
I let her call her husband out of human compassion.
As time went by, did I then, oh, by the way, you testified for me on other matters, have you not?
Yes.
We go back about 20 years?
Yes.
And we socialized together?
Yes.
So we're friends?
Yes.
And as you worked on the case, can you tell the jurors what information you had access to that would allow you to continue with your investigation as a psychologist?
I had access to her clinical records. Many of that were discussed here. Emergency records, grand jury minutes. With the longitudinal nature of my evaluation, I had records from Brigham and Women's, South Shore, Spalding Hospital, and most recently, Tewksbury Hospital, which go back to, I believe, March 27th or so, 2023 till today.
She's been at Tewksbury State Hospital from March 27th, 2023 to today. Oh my God. Where are my nurses? Where are my nurses? Who's been to Tewksbury State? Tell me you have. Can you? She's been at Tewksbury State since March 27th, 2023. Guys, when you think of like an old, like a mental asylum, Tewksbury State is a picture of it. Brick, cold, linoleum floors, locked units, plastic furniture, buzzers, smell. It smells. Like hospital, you know what I mean? A lot of security. Cold. That's all I can say. Like sometimes I go and do assessments there. And we don't get a good feeling. That's all. Like, I don't know how, okay, that's going to sound like weird, but it's like, you just don't get a good feeling. Not that you need to. I'm just trying to be like very descriptive here. Yeah. It's a lot.
How many times have you seen Lindsay since that day in January of 24?
So I've met with 2023. I've met with Ms. Clancy over 45 times since then. And that was at the writing and the issuance of my report to Attorney Reddington. That was in the middle of June. And I've seen Ms. Clancy since then 20 times probably, or 15, inclusive of being in this courtroom and sometimes meeting with her in the holding unit.
And we've had occasion.
Chase, shut your mouth. That's exactly. It looks like the hospital in America Horror Story Asylum. Like McLean is different. The old brick, like Brickstone, that all is, it is what it is. But it's cold. It is like sterile and plastic. And it's just, it's uncomfortable. I don't know. Like at McLean, you have like grounds and you have like beautiful flowers and like you have like, there's like kind of a balance there. When you're at Tewksbury State, you're like, oh.
To visit with her in Tewksbury Hospital many of those times, right?
Yes.
And you've had occasion to visit with her in the lockup to this courthouse, correct?
Yes.
And she's been treated very well by everybody, the court officers, everybody. Is that correct?
Objection. All of this.
Yeah, that's sustained.
Well, you've had a chance to see her in the lockup, right?
Yes.
Why would
No, overruled.
Why would you see her in the lockup?
I would see Lindsay Clancy in lockup because the nature of presentation in this court has been gut-wrenching for anyone who would be exposed to such horrific
Objection and move to strike. It's not responsive to the question.
Right. Can I see counsel again?
I'll withdraw it. Let me
All right, so that answer, ladies and gentlemen, that answer is stricken.
In Tewksbury Hospital, have you had to see her to evaluate her in addition to your testimony for a jury?
Yes.
Why?
Because the nature of mental health is something that's not a static or what we consider historical piece of information. Static information means a date of birth. That's never going to change. Dynamic issues are things that are subject to change, like the weather, like your health, like your mood. So to do an evaluation for a case that Ms. Clancy is involved in, which is a triple homicide case, requires an examiner to ensure that she's competent to stand trial and that her mental health is stable enough to be able to go forward with court proceedings.
Is there an additional component, and has there been an additional component of her suicidal ideation since she's been in custody at Brigham and Women's, and then of course transferred years ago to Tewksbury?
Objection. Approach.
Can I see counsel?
He almost got it. He almost got it in.
While you're evaluating her, whether it be in Tewksbury or you're visiting with her here, her present state of mind is always an interest to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in addition to all of the police reports, grand jury minutes, photographs, and things that you've described for us, sir, have you also had occasion to review all of the medical records without going through every one of them, dealing with Jennifer Tufts, Gelada, drugs that were prescribed to her, etc.?
Why this matters, guys, is because Kevin Reddington, or Case Reddington as we know him, is able to go over this and note that Dr. Zeisel quite literally is the only practitioner that provided continuity of care management to Lindsay Clancy. Reviewing all the records, reviewing all the hospitalizations, reviewing outpatient, her partial program, the inpatient stay at McLean's, her hospitalization, post-surgical follow-up, and mental health. The entire picture, including but not limited to calls to Patrick Clancy, which no other provider afforded her that opportunity prior to the deaths of her 3 children.
Yes.
Were you able to take a family history and a school history from Lindsay?
Yes.
Were you able to take a medical history from Lindsay?
Yes.
Were you concerned about her status as a woman who had recently had a child, Callan, in the spring of 2022?
Yes.
And what time frame was it that you were focusing on for purposes of your evaluation as to her mental state after having Callan, when she was postpartum?
The time frame started in roughly September
Mhm.
2022 through January
Oh, the time she
2023.
was being treated.
And during that period of time, you were aware that she had certain symptomology. Again, we could go through every single one of them, or we can just say yes.
Let's go right here.
Feel better. By all reports from Ms. Clancy, she did not get better.
How about sleeping? Did she have any complaints about sleeping?
Yes.
What was that?
Her insomnia got worse with the passage of time.
As September turned into October, it turns into November, around the time of Thanksgiving. Had she continued to seek help from medical health care providers?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Who did she seek to get help from?
Well, the initial person, I believe, was her mother-in-law, Sue Clancy, and who was a labor and delivery nurse in Newby.
Who did she see as a result of Sue Clancy?
I believe it was Julie Paul initially.
And what group was she
Who knows
affiliated
all
with?
of it?
South.
It's incredible.
She had total flattened affect.
Did she then seek additional help?
Yes.
Where?
She went to the, I believe, the emergency room initially at South Shore to go to Mass General.
And did they prescribe additional medication for her?
Yep.
I believe they did, yes.
Did she make any expressions to her treating physicians up to this point about what in her opinion, what the medications were doing to her?
Yes.
What did she say?
She said she was in a brain fog. The medications were making things worse. They were not helping.
Oops. There it is. There it is. Dr. Zeisel, this is what we needed from you, good sir. They were making things worse, the medications, and they were not helping. So why did we put her on more? Never will make sense. Next. Back. Oh, wait, we're just going to go like this. And then we're going to find, where is my gal, Dr. Lapasada? Oh, get big. No, go back. Oh, shiitake. Oh, wait. All right, hold on. Downloads? Oh, no. Where did I? Nope. Dr. Lapasada, I had you. Dr. Lapasada. Not La Pasta. Lapasada. All right, is this going to be loud? East Ohio News. Hook us up. Yes. Here it is.
To the South Shore Hospital and then subsequently went to the Brigham and Women's Hospital. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you don't have to get into detail with her.
Crap, I
number of
can't
times,
hear
but
it.
there were injuries to her left wrist, her right wrist.
DWS News. Hook us up.
Hi, Mr. Reddington.
Yes, thank you.
May I swear her in?
Yes.
Dr. Lapasado, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear?
Yeah, it's loud enough. Hold on. Here it is. This is where we're going to shine. We have to talk about injuries. If you get squeamish talking about medical issues and Jefferson fractures, this is not the place, babes, but it's very interesting.
But you don't get any spinal cord injury from that because the area, the hole in the middle is pretty big. So it just crushes down on the sides and fractures the ring
kidding. It's back here.
So what we have here is to show you how Lindsay was injured. And I got this from...
Now, if you didn't know, there was so much drama inside the courtroom. Were we going to get the visual aids? Were we not going to get the visual aids? We sure as shit were. And this is not, I want you to see this, because in opening statements and in every affidavit and in the beginning of time of this case, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts told you that Lindsay Clancy gingerly held her hands up and dropped just casually, basically could have, landed on a bush and been completely fine. Christ only knows how one was able to have a transection of their spinal column and suffer the fractures that she does, except for the fact, unless she hurled herself through, somersaulted, and did exactly what that imagery is showing, which is right here. It's literally face down, ass direction up, right onto the ground, frozen ground. You see their C1, C2, which is your cervical spine. There are your fractures. Take it away, Dr. LaPosada.
Seeing photographs from all the medical history and my knowledge and training, understanding how injuries happen to the body. So if we look at the left-hand side of this panel, we see a depiction of the back side of the house, and the top window on the second floor is open. That's where she would have put her palms down on the windowsill and put her head out and precipitated down to fall on the hard-frozen ground. During her fall, head first, she had cuts on her wrists which were bleeding.
Nailed it, Derek.
Coming head down on the side of that building would then transfer some of that blood onto the side of the building, which was found in the same photograph. She then hits really head first, and as her body descends that 13 or 14 feet. And if you look at...
Can you imagine somersaulting out of 14 feet high? A somersault out of a window? Stop it. Guys, that's a real attempt. That's not a ginger hanging. That's not a, ooh, let me have a dramatic fall. Let me be a little pretender. No. And it was quite literally up until trial that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts would have liked you to believe that Lindsay Clancy basically sat in a wheelchair because we really don't know how injured. Is she really paralyzed? Was it a real attempt? Judge Sullivan would tell you the same thing. Hey, guys, you keep saying this like you have an undertone here of, but was it? And facts matter, anatomy, physiology.
So she really did a free fall, dive head first.
Dive head first. Nothing is in the pool, no water.
Show a skull. This illustrates the forces then that were applied to Lindsay's head while hitting the ground, and then her head bending a little bit. And what she got from that is what we call a characteristic burst fracture or a Jefferson fracture. And this is a fracture that we see with people who hit their head on, like if they take a dive into a swimming pool and they hit their head on the bottom. It's a classic finding in people who have energy applied to the falling head. And what it does is that it takes the first cervical vertebrae, which kind of looks like a donut, as you see up there in the middle, and it squashes it. The base of the skull then squashes that, and then like a donut, it kind of spreads it out. And she had 6 or 7 fractures of that cervical vertebrae. Number 1, the ring of that. And
Good
the
God.
fractures I have pointed to there with arrows. So that is
Okay, so like for me, I just am thinking to myself, God, how did she not end up a paraplegic, right?
called the characteristic Jefferson fracture
quadriplegic.
from hitting your head, the top of your head in a dive first position. So you can also describe it as a bursting type fracture. But you don't get any spinal cord injury from that because the area, the hole in the middle is pretty big. So
the hole in the middle, it's because she didn't have the spinal cord injury like she did in her T5, T6, which is thoracic spine, babes, mid back. That's how she ended up only, correction, strike that, with being paralyzed, having no use of her legs, her lower extremities, and not having her upper extremities involved in it.
Just crushes down on the side and fractures the ring around the spinal cord. So that told me immediately that she landed head first and went down to the window, went down head first. Then the energy is transmitted from her head down her vertebral body, down the bony spine, and that then fractured and compressed C1, the lower right-hand panel there, puts that cervical vertebral body in the context of the rest of her skeleton. The left upper hand, we see her jaw, and then the
Miss Prish, she's paralyzed from the sternum down? Is she?
C1 is pointed out there. There are little springs there to indicate they were squished and compressed together and fractured.
Now, looking at the next page, which would be 5, does that assist us in looking at the illustration of the injury to the spine?
Yeah, so this is after her head hit, so she hits her head first, then there is some flexion of her body.
Thank you.
And the
Here it is.
energy
Look at
from
this.
the
Look at this, babes. When we talked to you about the transection of look at T6, do you see that? Do you see this? Unbelievable. So that spinal column should be going. We have a curvature, right? But this is a complete transection. Unbelievable. And it is from the ass over tea kettle.
impact is transmitted down her vertebral column. And what that did was it crushed the number of her thoracic vertebrae or vertebrae in the chest area and actually made thoracic vertebral body T5 be compressed and move over the top of the lower vertebrae, and that is what injured her spinal cord. In the right-hand panel there, the yellow tube coming down is the spinal cord, and the thoracic vertebral 5 and 6 is pictured there, and you can see that
Completely
the whole spinal column was compressed and it moved forward and out of place, causing her spinal cord injury. There were also injuries that are indicated by those red stars there, and those are fractures of the transverse processes of the cervical vertebrae. So when they were compressed, the areas where the joints are between the vertebrae were compressed and fractured those transverse processes. So she had a bending injury, and she also had a right posterior rib injury. You can see on the left-hand panel, her shoulders are also hitting the ground, and that caused a fracture of the right first rib in the back, and the flexion of her neck also damaged her thyroid gland and some of her voice box cartilages.
And if we look at panel...
damaged her thyroid gland and some of her voice box cartilage. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? This was so serious.
Page 6, can you tell us what we're looking at there?
Yes, this is the final resting position of Lindsay's body as documented in all of the tools I reviewed that are on the left-hand side. So she is lying down on hard, frozen ground. Her clothing is wet. She has on indoor clothing. The time that this occurred, it was dark and it was sun.
And guys, we remember this is the final resting place. Thank you, Dr. La Posada. And we remember that even the first responders, what they stated was that she was in and out of consciousness. Some said she was just yelping or crying out in pain. And no one said that she was moving, though, right? Moving her head, maybe thrashing a little bit, coming in and out, but not upper extremities or lower extremities, per what I remember from the first responders.
The temperature was in the low 30s, so she is going to be at risk of her body temperature going down, lying on that cold ground. In addition to
See, and was she, that's the thing, user, was she able to speak to Patrick? Writhing in pain, crying, making a sound, a guttural sound is one thing versus, I'm sorry, the kids are in the basement. I tried to kill myself. The kids are in the basement.
now that her thoracic chest spine is fractured, that has totally disrupted the thermal regulation of the bottom half of her body. So she is going to lose heat from
Truth, neurogenic shock, and also that that spinal fractures and that transection ended up deregulating not only her temperature, but also, I would say, her pulse, because weren't they saying that it was between like 59 and 120? So she was deregulated, neurogenic shock and the transection. Those are going to be where you see those findings. Now down to 82 degrees. Okay, lower half, understood. Yes, you're in your neurogenic shock. How did you get up to 95 and then back down to 82 before you got to Mass Gen? That is where it doesn't make sense to me. Could she have been completely deregulated? Absolutely. And 82, okay. In theory, due to that spinal cord injury, yes. But how did you get her back up to 95, allegedly, transport her via med flight helicopter, and yet she presented at Mass General at 82 degrees again, was so hypovolemic she required multiple blood transfusions, and then went into a cardiac arrest? She coded. I don't know.
the lower half of her body and to approach ambient temperature. So there she is lying there on the ground. Then if we go to the right side of that, this is a scene photograph showing the area where Lindsay's body landed. You can see on the right at the base area, there is some medical debris from the EMS emergency
Kelly.
treatment. Then circled in.
Kelly says the people in the courtroom said they heard Lindsay say basement garbled, but heard it.
Put in a red square is a little bit of snow that has some blood on it, which would correspond to her position lying down as we see it in
All
the
day
left
for
hand
Winston.
side there.
All day. South Shore Hospital.
Okay, then
Nightmare.
the last bit here is a X-ray of Lindsay, which was taken in early February after she had surgical stabilization of her fractured spine. So this is looking at the side of her, and you can see the hardware, which they look like little golf tees going to the left side. So this is the surgical metal hardware that was placed in her spine to open up and align her spine to try to preserve any function that was still available.
Now, Dr.
When she was stabilized, in order to preserve any function if it was still available. God.
When she went to the Brigham and Women's Hospital, were you reviewing the medical records and able to discern that she actually coded as a result of her injuries?
Oh, Brigham, I mean.
Yes, she did. She was in spinal shock and hypothermia, and her heart did stop.
And did you observe that there were, and I quote, massive blood transfusions to treat her at Brigham and Women's?
Yes, she lost a lot of blood around the muscles that hold
Good God, I'm sorry, guys. I said Mass General. It's Brigham. It's the Brigham. Ugh.
the spine up because that was so damaged. So her hemoglobin and hematocrit and her red blood cell level was very low on admission.
And not even that, Dr. Laposada. We also remember that she had between 100 and 300 cc's of blood in her bilateral, both pleural cavities. The chest tubes were placed immediately.
And the final question I had, Doctor, is as it relates to the records. It showed that she had a core body temperature of 82 degrees as opposed to 98.6, which we're accustomed to. Can you tell the jury, in your opinion, to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, what does that mean and how did that happen? I mean, that's pretty low.
Yes, that is low. That's like, 16 degrees below normal. And so her low body temperature came from lying on the hard frozen ground, which would be 32 degrees frozen ground. She had wet clothing on, so wet clothing is going to transmit the body heat into the atmosphere quicker than dry clothing. It was indoor clothes. She didn't have a big parka on. There was no sun at that time to keep her body.
Dr. Laposada, she didn't have a parka on, aka a winter coat.
Temperature, the ambient or the air temperature was around 30 degrees. She has a thin body, and also, most importantly, because of that thoracic spinal cord transection, she lost the ability to control her body temperature below
There it
that
is.
level. So that means all her blood vessels just dilate, and they just lose heat to the atmosphere.
And we lose that to the atmosphere. Next, 1 second.
Strangle someone 10 to 20 seconds at least to unconsciousness, and then you would have to continue to strangle them.
We're not doing that. No, 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 no.
Well, they're very, very different. Manual strangulation.
I just wanted to play that for 1 second because, again, this shows the callous nature, in my opinion, of the Commonwealth in this prosecution. For why? Like, we've heard it from multiple doctors on multiple days, and the effects of not only the first responders, the medical professionals, but those jurors, my heart breaks for, because this is a traumatic experience for them. And the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth alone is responsible for the trauma that is being experienced and compounded on this jury. Kevin Reddington would have stipulated to everything. Why? To not have the jury and Lindsay have to go again and again and again. It's you have to get the points of the case across. You have to. Completely understood. But there is tact, and there is a way to go about it that the Commonwealth, in my opinion, has lost completely. And it's a shame. And that's it for tonight for me, lovies, okay? Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. I'm going to read super chats because that is very kind of you to do this. RBC 1874. Thank you for becoming a member at my house. If this is getting too much for you guys too, take a break. Take a break. Watch Cliff Notes versions because it's a lot. And it's a lot for me. And I deal with things not of this nature, but I get it. And I'm trying to have myself even compartmentalize what I'm feeling. So I get it. Put your feet on the ground. Just breathe. And if you need a day off, take a day off. If you can't watch it, if you're like, Kim, love you. I'll see you next week. I'll see you the week after. I'll be here. Okay? Take care of yourselves the most. And thank you to Mama Z 824 for 200 joules of sunshine. And to O'Neill Marketing 10 joules for hiding. Oh, come out of hiding. And Pauline 4227L, 30 joules of a flower. And to RN in Rome, GA, 10 joules of hiding. Are we hiding now? We used to be fingering hearts. Samantha, thank you so much for 10 joules of a floating heart. And to my Chase for 10 joules of a floating heart too. And Angela said 5 years old, like from her first child. That was in regards to her thyroid being checked. And I believe that is accurate. I do actually think that the last time she had her thyroid level was after the birth of her first child. And to Kristen, thank you so much for 10 joules of hiding as well. And Meatball Morrissey Sketty saying, didn't the Irish Catholic judge go to Notre Dame? I think this was the wrong courtroom to do this in. You think? Like, listen, don't muff with our Irish Catholics. And thank you again so much, Parksy. I love your face. You're the best. And to John Flaggart, 200 joules of sunshine. I appreciate you. And to Rachel with 10 joules of hiding. What are we hiding from? Come out wherever you are. And Rochella, 5 joules for a treat. Thank you. And to Phil, not Phil McCracken, but Phil 65098. Thank you so much. Says mortal sin was a total shitbag move, even just as bad as that Bo Devil intentionally hurting Mrs. Clancy with Elsie's text about Elsie texting she didn't want her watching the kids alone. Scumbag. Family, interpersonal relationships, all the things. But I believe that Mrs. Clancy knows that Lindsay was sick too. She was sick. And she's had to deal with so much, meaning Mrs. Clancy. I thank you so much, Phil. And to my Cassie baby, says, Cash App, babe. We're cash apping. She is a trapping. Don't be cash apping. Oh, thank you so much, Cassie baby. I appreciate you. Oh, hello. Dunday. A snack and a DC for me from Cassie. She's the best. Oh, I really appreciate it. And finally, to Lewis and Clark, says 450 joules for a butterfly. Guys, you're the best. I love you. I think that, you are the best to ever do it. And you know that. Why? Because you're my favorites. I have favorites. It's you. Okay? Have a good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bugs bite. Bye.
What's gotten into the people in the world today? Common sense, a man is pushed out of the way. No one's filtering the wild shit they say. Don't seem to have Tourette's, so why you're so cray. You're not my friend, not my fam, not on my level, not my jam. You're the goddamn devil, I don't give a damn. When you drive through Salem, they scream, burn that witch. So shut all the way the fuck up, you dumb bitch. Please God, dear Lord, tell them to sign offline and hop on to all the good dick that you can find. Let everyone get dick down consensually. Go get you some instead of worrying about me. Everybody should be worshipped centrally. Hopefully you'll realize eventually. Get out of my face, get out of my chat. You're an ostrich, bitch, what you think about that? Well, you all way up inside my grill today. I don't think you have Tourette's, so why are you talking cray? You're not my friend, not my fam, not on my level, not my jam. You goddamn devil, I don't give a damn. When you're driving through Salem, they scream, burn the witch. Shut all the way the fuck up, you dumb bitch. Get out of my face, get out of my track. You're an ostrich, bitch, what you think about that? Nurse Kim will preach it, Jimmy will teach it, Other Mary B and me will art it. Last at least young church will fart it.
This was adapted from a non-ironic valid truth, Kimmy. It's my homework for Jimmy.
Shout out to Tish, Kylie, and the other Mary B. Shout out to Zach, Mo, Esk, Nicola, and Queen Valerie. Shout out to Miss Jess, Emily C, and MC Kazi G. Shout out to Ray from Dallas, Fervent, Jess, Glera, OBN TV.